Hello there, kia ora. Hey, Simeon Brown. I know we don't see eye to eye on a lot. I'm like a full foot taller than you. Actually, you know what? That was a low blow and very mean of me, and I apologize. I actually think you have the opportunity to do something really good with your role as local government minister. You can fire a really problematic city councillor. It'll look like you're taking an active interest in the well-being of New Zealanders and send a strong message that the government is concerned with local government in more ways than the Post keeps telling you that you should in Wellington. In Kirikirira, Hamilton, they have this guy, Andrew Bitter. You may have seen him in the news a bit this year after he used an ableist slur or two to denigrate disabled people. Well, Hamilton City Council had a meeting about it, and they found he had breached their code of conduct rules. Again. And now you and I both know that those rules are really weak. And I'm not sure if you read the Future for Local Government report before you binned it, but one of the suggestions in it was to find more ways to hold elected councillors accountable if they do things that bring their communities into disrepute. Well, Andrew was ordered to apologise to a number of community groups that work with disabled people and still hasn't. And he refuses to do so. That sounds like someone determined to undermine the democratic process to me. And I totally get you may not be aware of the other things Bid has been up to. He's actually part of a conspiracy-fueled sovereign citizen-aligned group calling themselves the Hamilton Residents and Ratepayers Association. It's actually run by this guy, who's been convicted multiple times for serious fraud. He's publicly worked with Liz Gunn to plan ways to subvert the democratic process and undermine the work of councils all over the country, which would undermine the work you want them to achieve as minister. He even brought up the conspiracy about 20-minute cities in his defense for his original issues. Oh, remember the story that came out during the election campaign about the sovereign citizens that issued execution writs to councillors threatening their lives over those 20-minute city conspiracies? Well, Bidder is part of that group and was in the audience that night. So is your National Party MP Ryan Hamilton, so maybe don't ask him for advice on this. He's also been involved with people who have threatened physical violence against elected councillors, like this guy, who felt it was okay to tell people to take women out back of the bike shed and beat them. Now, I get that there may be concerns about stepping in. It's not like Wellington, where a couple of disgruntled elected officials are unhappy that they're in the minority on a democratic decision-making process and have an inordinate amount of press coverage because of it, after all. But it's now less than a year from the next local body election, so removing Bidder wouldn't trigger a by-election, wouldn't impact Hamilton at all in the way that it works as a democratic body, and would make you look like a decisive leader willing to do what's best for their community. In a community that voted in 2 national MPs at the last election. Or you could, of course, stay quiet and do nothing and let the voters decide in October. But can you imagine the damage 11 more months of a conspiracy-spewing, disability-mocking, democracy-undermining elected official could do to our fastest-growing city? This could be a much-needed win in an area where, well, let's be honest, you're not too popular, after ignoring every single council and elected official who gave you feedback on Maori wards and forced on them extra costs with those referenda and other things like the water infrastructure, which caused rates to skyrocket, and stepped into Wellington City Council when you haven't released the advice on why you did that, and it's freaked out other councils around the country. It's an easy win for you, and I and many others genuinely want to see you take it. And to do that, you just have to show elected officials who genuinely undermine democracy that there are consequences for their actions. So come on, Simeon. Do it.